What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the call. Welcome to the call. Today is February 15th, and it is our weekly Outlook call. Super excited for this week, you guys. A lot of things that we have been discussing has manifested. We had a phenomenal trading week. Shout out to my guy, Oscar, lighting up the chat. You know what I'm saying? I kind of called the trades, and I've been calling these exact same setups throughout the year, throughout the month, throughout the weeks. Literally every single call, I've been giving these plays, and we gave it time and we allowed a lot of these things to manifest, to come to fruition. One of the biggest things that we were looking at was the sells on CAD JPY. We were able to play out the JPYs beautifully, right? With complete sniper entries on these trades. In some situations, we could have even held our trades longer than we should have, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I was actually one to exit my trades after my targets were hit for about 140 pips. And what we saw that markets retraced to mitigate previous imbalances in the market, mitigate previous, retest previous lows, and we've seen the market do that while still maintaining here. So I have a couple of things that we've been looking at, like we have been predicting that the JPYs were going to be buying for an extended period of time. We had some pretty big goals on the JPYs. We finally were able to see the JPY basket rally about 6 to 7%, right? 6.5% in a single week, you guys. I don't know if you understand how incredible that is to be able to predict a 6% move in a currency, right? But that's how we're coming all year. We're going to keep it running, keep it rolling, and we have more to come. In addition to the JPYs, we obviously looked at GBP, JPY. This was a phenomenal try to take buy side, didn't work out. I can see exactly what the market was doing. We can see didn't enter NZD JPY this past week, but we used it as a guide. Ozzy was on AUD JPY. This one gave me a little bit of trouble. I took a loss on AUD JPY this past week, but I think that I can also, this actually is pretty interesting. This is an interesting chart to me right now. Very interesting. Very curious about this, actually. I don't know if I love, very curious about this right now, actually. This is telling. You see, I'm just going through doing the review, and there's certain things that are popping out to me. We'll talk about them in just a moment. Um, and then the JPY basket overall. Ooh. All right. Oh, in addition to that, we also took Euro NZD buys, big buys on Euro NZD. Let me see if it actually even shows my most recent buys. We were able to catch this one off of the 960 level. Price is trading kind of sideways here. I'm actually anticipating a sell on Euro NZD into structure, but we will go into it, review it, and we will kickstart this week, you guys. I think it's going to be a big one. So let's kickstart it from the very beginning, as you guys know I like to do. I always like to start off my calls on Sunday by doing a quick review of the news, right? I like to understand what are the potential areas of volatility that may be ahead so that I'm not caught blindsided, not caught off guard. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are the areas that I can look for? We've got some Euro news today. I'm not really trading anything different today. No news on Monday. And then Tuesday, we have a full jam-packed week. As I review my news, you guys, I always like to go over here and filter out my news. This is how the list actually will look if you just log on. I just simply go over to this filter on the right and I filter out all the yellow folders and it condenses the list to just the high impact news. The high impact news is what's going to move the market dramatically. And automatically, I can see we've got some GBP news, but then we've got a lot of CAD news, some CPI, and then we've got some NZD news just as well. So my Euro NZD will be affected. My CAD JPY will be affected by everything that's going to be happening on Tuesday. So with that being said, I can automatically in my mind start to anticipate that the market may consolidate for a period of time potentially, right? This USD CAD looks like it's going to bust to the upside, which means we could see CAD weakness, which means CAD JPY could potentially see some short side. AUD JPY seems to be testing structure here. I don't know if we reject here or buy back. That's how my mind starts to work and put the pieces together based on what we're seeing. If we're seeing CAD news is upcoming, that means that the CAD pairs will be affected. The best way to understand what could possibly be happening is to look at the CAD pairs, the CAD JPYs, the USD CADs. I could look at Euro CAD, I could look at GBP CAD. I want to look at the pairs that are associated to that news event, right? This looks like it could bust to the upside just as well. These things all hint to me at CAD weakness, which is exactly what we have been anticipating. However, on this CAD JPY, I do also anticipate a pullback, right? So maybe the story that I tell myself is that over the next 2 days, Sunday and Monday, right, I'm focusing on the JPY basket as a whole. By Tuesday, my focus is going to change and I'm going to be focusing on the CAD because just because the other CAD pairs are selling, it doesn't mean that this CAD JPY will not buy if the JPY basket sells. That's where the game starts to get complicated. You know what I'm saying? But I got this thing mapped out for us. You feel me? And I'll show you guys the way. With all that being said, next day, we have AUD news on Wednesday. We've got USD news, FOMC minute meetings, GBP, CPI news on Wednesday. It's a jam-packed week from week to week. This is the money week. This is where you get your bag up, you protect your accounts, you manage your risk, and we look to grow slowly and steadily. Unemployment claims on Thursday, NZD, bank statements or governor statements on Thursday, and then Friday we've got PMI news. We have PMI news, and we have PMI news for the euro, for the Great British Pound, for the U.S. dollar, advanced GDP for the dollar just as well. It is a heavy news week, you guys. Brace yourself. It should be fun, right? We're going to trade. We're going to protect our accounts. We're not going to be scared because we have a plan. We have a blueprint, and we've been here before. If you haven't, I have, and we're going to go there together. You know what I'm saying? So with all that being said, I like to, after I've done a review of the news, I'm going to run through my different currency pairs. I'm going to run through where I am in the market. We already looked at what we saw from the past week and the trades that went our way. We're going to look to see which trades, which pairs are trading at their psychological levels, their quarters, which ones are close to them, which ones have moved away far from them. There actually are no pairs that are really like sitting close to their quarters when I look at this automatically. They've all already moved away. The closest is the dollar index, and the closest quarter is the 975. The 975 on the dollar index is an imbalanced area where we could expect to see the dollar buy to maybe from here. I see that automatically. I can see a small order block right here where we have our buys, and then we have our counter trend trade as we discussed, and then we have sell side, sell side, sell side. We would want to see some buyers come into the market at least to this point here. We have our bullish engulfing candle that seems to want to take us into a higher territory. We have a higher low here, right? And then we have a small higher high, that could be considered even like a relatively equal high before we get this next rejection and what seems to be our next higher low. Now we would be looking to see markets create a higher high. And if we do create a higher high, we would anticipate that the market from that point in time would continue to buy from that point, right? We should buy back into this structure. We have this previous structure here, previous structure here. We should buy back into this area. Worst case scenario, we go into a range of consolidation to where the market just stays right here. At the best, price starts to push and we test this block right here. If this ends up being that we have actually created a higher time frame since we're on the 4 hour, but we create our low and then we create our higher low here, right? We would be looking for our higher high, which our higher high would be closer to this area right here. That now makes our trade a 1 to 4, which is within my rules, right? If this gets bigger, we start to look to see price come into and to test these different highs in here. We look for imbalances in the market, any areas that the market can actually trade to test. We look for equal lows, and we look to see, some of the targets that we've targeted previously because things can get crazy, honestly, if all things align and go our way. We could end up with 1 to 18s, 1 to 10s, worst case scenarios. Look at trades like this, right? These are the kind of trades that I personally am looking for. You know what I'm saying? I might want to clean up my charts as I'm going, right? Maybe I just want to, my charts aren't too cluttered, but I do like to keep them pretty clean, pretty simple, not like to have too much on there. I just want to understand the exact targets that I'm looking for, and that's it. I want to, so you guys saw how I was able to use like my quarters and my psychological levels. I simply was able to just look at it, say that we're trading right below here. Our first target would be to trade back to that level. You know what I'm saying? Now, how the market responds once we get to that level is what's going to open up the realm of possibilities for other things that could possibly occur. You know what I'm saying? But until that happens, I am patient, right? And I am waiting for that time to occur. With all that being said, we have our USD CHF, which would follow the same curve. If the US dollar buys, we should see USD CHF buy just as well. You can see where we had our original sell or buy position. There was a potential opportunity as market consolidated here to continue to buy. That did not work out, right? We did sell. Oscar actually called the sell side on this trade. So we actually had both opportunities. Although I saw the buys, Oscar saw the sells. And when he saw the sells and where we were selling to, we were able to take that for 100 pips. So even if I lost 30 pips, we made 100 pips on Oscar's trade. And from that point in time, we see the market creating higher highs from this point in time. And we may have found our entry for a bigger long-term position. That entry is still above. They couldn't even take out our original entry. It's still above that original entry. And we can see markets trade back to mitigate this imbalance and to retest this broken structure. This is the breach. This is where price would trade back to. At once price trades back to here, we could potentially take sells again, or we could see that price breaks above and continues to go to the upside. USD CAD is doing the exact same thing. We have our sell side position. Price has traded back. We were not able to create higher highs here. We tested this structure, this imbalance. There are still imbalances above here, but the market trades back into the lows. We trade back into the lows, but we do not create a lower low, and we get this big bullish engulfing candle. This big bullish engulfing candle may likely create the new floors, and our potential entries could be something like this. We might see a pullback to mitigate that imbalance, but we wouldn't want to see price trade below this order block that has been created. If it does, it's possible that we trade to this low here and we're able to get an entry that's closer to like this. I wouldn't extend out my stop loss. I would simply take two trades. If I lose 27 pips, I can lose 27 pips and then risk another 30 pips rather than me risking 76 pips altogether. 76 pips minus whatever I just said, that's like a 25 pip difference. And those are some of the ways to where I protect my accounts. I'll take an additional loss. I want to be in it, but I don't want to just hold a lot of drawdown. You know what I'm saying? I want to cut my losers fast. But this is showing me that we could see continued buy side on USD CAD, meaning that the CAD, we could see some sell side. So I'm being cautious of that. You know what I'm saying? AUD, USD is in an interesting place. This is an interesting structure. It kind of goes against my current beliefs on USD pairs, right? Because what this seems to be seeing or showing is that we have previous structure that the Australian dollar has broken above, and we could potentially use this level to buy up from here, right? This could indicate a market flip right here where the Australian dollar buys to its next quarter level. That would be a reasonable trade. Because there's a conflict, I'm going to tread lightly. You know what I'm saying? If USD CAD falls and maybe I got this wrong, maybe this is a continued sell and this is the retest right here, right? We retest this low and we come and we take out these lows and we test. Oh, look, I have a level. Look at that. I already have this marked. I can see the future, guys. Hmm, that's pretty cool. Anyways, wow. Look at that, man. That's why we do these calls each week because there's still these lows for price to take out. So maybe everything I just said was wrong. But do you see how quickly I could identify how me being wrong, through my systems, right? And it's not even saying that I'm wrong yet, but I can see the possibility of me being wrong. And I accept the possibility of me being wrong. And I accept the fact that this AUD, USD could, I mean, or USD CAD could. Did I tell you guys that there was a conflict that I was feeling because I wanted for USD, my CAD JPY to buy? And I'm like, but this would have to, and look, a 1 to 3. Huh. Hmm. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for allowing me to explain this to you because now it helps me to see it for myself. Potential. Absolutely. But this is looking like a better opportunity based on what I'm seeing from the Australian dollar. So, how does that make me feel? It makes me want to go back and check on my Euro NZD because if the Australian dollar is buying, then that means that Euro NZD and the New Zealand dollar could also buy, right? Because their economies are closely connected. So if I saw that the Australian dollar had actually created a high, we broke out, this is a new high, and we came back in and we retested, and we have not. So here's the thing, we're in a place on the AUD that if it were to break below and retest within this structure, then we definitely have space to take out this low, and this low and trade into here very, very easily. Very easily we could do that. Very easily we could get a sell into here. You can see this is the original trade I was trying to take. We saw instant profits, and then the market eventually came back and swept us. It doesn't mean that the areas that we were targeting are not valid. It just may not have been ready. So if this market were to trade back in here, then we would be wanting to take the sell side, down to this next level here, right? But if it stays above, then we take the buy side. So in reality, we can still wait. We don't have to rush. We can go back and have this marked up just like this, and we can casually look at the market and be like, this is what I expect it to do, right? This is what I expect it to do based on, how would I say, based on the fact that we're trading above the structure. So none of these things are valid yet. We're just seeing the potential. NZD USD, it kind of seems like the opposite. It kind of seems like we broke out, but we didn't create a higher high, right? AUD created a higher high. NZD did not create a higher high. It created a lower high. and then it did trade back into structure. So the structure that AUD has not traded back into yet, NZD has already traded back into that structure. That's why I called the NZD USD sells last week, because it had already completed those things. Now we can expect for it to target the lows and target here. That would support my original bias that the dollar should buy. So you see there's a conflict here. GBP USD is kind of closely in alignment with the NZD USD. So we have GBP USD and NZD USD that seem to be in better alignment, while AUD USD and USD CHF seem to be giving some issues. So what that means is that over the next couple of hours, as this next 4-hour candle closes, it actually just closed right now, 6 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago. As we see over the next 4 hours, it will become more clear the more time passes by, because these things are not going to trade all against each other. This is either going to trade back into structure. I'm going to show you guys too. I'm going to point it out in the chat, and we're going to understand, okay, this week I'm looking for sells. We'll know that within the next 24 hours. Before by tomorrow morning, we're going to have a clear answer that maybe over the next couple of days, I'm going to be looking for sells. We're going to know that, and we're going to be able to feel that with conviction and confidence, because all of our pairs are going to be moving in the same direction. They're not going to be playing tug of war. You know what I'm saying? NAS 100, we've had major sell side.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think my headset died. So you guys drop a 111 in the chat if you can hear me clearly, and we'll keep it going. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Let's rock it. Let's go. All right, fantastic. So NAS 100, we've had some major sell side pressure, right? We actually hit every target that I had defined. We tested the lows without creating a lower low. We have now a higher low on NAS 100. Following the higher low, we have another higher low, right? And we can anticipate that NAS 100 will buy from here, right? We won't take trades on the daily. It may be something more like this off of the 4-hour time frame with our stop loss below the lows here, and we have our 1 to 3 risk to reward. We may trade back into the highs and expect for price to take these internal highs and test these internal structures here, right? But we have our 1 to 3 and potentially close to a 1 to 5 risk to reward trade on NAS 100. I'm going to go ahead and just take a screenshot of this, because this is a banger. High key. UK, US oil. US oil, we've seen that we got spikes to $66 a barrel, and it looks like price is about to reject from here, right? I could see us easily sweeping these lows, price trading from where we are today into, yeah, pretty much these lows down here. Could I get a 1 to 3? Maybe. That could be a little forced. I potentially would not look to enter the trade. It could trade as low as here. I may look to buy it back once we get to the lows here, right? I may be looking for price to sweep these lows and to buy from either here or here, and for things to get expensive after that point in time, right? We could see oil plummet. We saw oil fall at one point to $1 to less than $1. It's very possible we could see it much lower before we get spikes again. Wartime, we get spikes in oil, so we'll pay attention to that. JPY basket did exactly what we have been anticipating, right? Remember, we were looking at this from the daily time frames, and on the daily time frames, we compared where price was trading at to where we had previously been trading at, right? We had these big bullish engulfing candles. We had the same exact thing happen last week, right? In the past, we had some even bigger bullish engulfing candles that took us into higher levels where we had consolidation, and then the market eventually broke down back to this level. My objective is to see price trade all the way back to here at one point in time, which will lead CAD JPY much, much lower, right? We took the buys on the JPY basket, which means we took the sells on all of the JPYs from GBP, JPY, right, to CAD JPY. Those were really like some of my two main focuses. I looked at Euro JPY this week as well. I didn't execute this, but you can see how that played out. Stop loss to hit every single target. And then, of course, NZD JPY. I marked that structure and we traded that well. Didn't take that trade. Aussie called out a killer trade on AUD JPY, and he hit over 140 pips on that one, I believe. I got stopped out on AUD JPY last week. With that being said, the JPY basket, we anticipated it. As we anticipated it, we saw over a 6% increase on the JPY basket. I don't think it's over, folks. I think we're just warming up. However, we have just created relatively equal highs, right? Relatively equal highs. At this point in time, I anticipate that markets will either trade back to the low and create a higher low and then a higher high to take these, or we sweep these lows and trade lower. I honestly don't want to see us sweep the lows and trade lower. I want to see us trade back into structure here and then to trade away from the markets at that point. You know, trade away from the lows at that point. We're going to get into discussing like our indicators and tools. As you guys see, I don't use a lot of indicators, but one that I do use is going to be our fib retracement. You can see how I placed the line there. Sometimes with all these things, you guys, I've just trained my eyes. You can see the line that I placed there randomly, right? I'm not capping. I just placed my lines. Or did I already have that line there? I could have sworn I just placed that line there at some point within this time. But anyways, so the line that I have there, or maybe I already put the fibs on there, lines up directly with our fib levels as well as previous structure. I would expect to see price trade back into the lows, create a higher low, and then make a move to come and sweep these highs. What that means is that I can either take the sells on the JPY basket, meaning that I would buy the JPYs, like I would buy CAD JPY, which I am currently in CAD JPY longs right now very heavily, or I could just simply wait for price to trade back to structure, right? I'm gonna want to set an alert here at 5355 or something like that, 535, 350, a message, JPY crossing such and such, potential buys. It'll give me a text message notification when market comes to this level, right? And I'll know that I'm ready to enter the trade, even if I'm not looking at it. With that being said, if this market sells from here, what I can anticipate is that we would start to see some buy side candles on the JPYs. right? Which we're seeing since the market's opened. We got this big bullish engulfing candle. With a big bullish engulfing candle like that, I want to identify, did we come off of any quarter levels with that move, right? Always want to identify where the market's coming from. We're coming from R750 is right here, right? This was the 1075. Price didn't even make it down to that low. We rejected from this low. So we previously came from that 107.5 and we're leaving that level now. So I'm still going to count it pretty much. You know what I'm saying? That still rocks to me. We're within 20 pips of our quarter levels, 25 pips of our quarter, and we get a bullish engulfing candle as the reaction off of that. I can anticipate that this market will trade to the buy side. I start to look for my buy side targets. Buy side targets from here, maybe structure here. We have a left shoulder. We have the head right here. We might see price trade all the way back to this level right here. Right. Let me clean up my charts. I don't like clutter and I don't need this stuff anymore. Right. I might anticipate that this market is going to buy to here, and that will take sells from that point in time. This bullish engulfing candle, if I were to execute on a trade here, it would look something like this. Stop loss below the body of this candle. You see that's 50 pips, and then this trade is to the highs. It is a 1 to 3, but 50 pips is a little bit beyond my risk to reward ratio that I'm comfortable with. I like to be within 30 to 35 pips, so I won't enter the trade. If price pulls back between now and tomorrow and we get sells into here, I will execute on this trade. So 108.25, we're going to set a target or an indicator, an alert, high prob buy side. Right? This is prime time trading right here. The best trading you ever do is not having to trade for real, because you already have made these projections and you already have a belief about what you think the market will do. If the market does not pull back to here, guess what happens? I don't execute the trade. I can't lose because I'm not in it. I am in CAD JPY though. Surely in CAD JPY. And I believe that we could actually trade all the way back to this high here, and this would make it a 1 to 8 risk to reward trade setup for me. This is what I'm in right now. That's what I bet my dollar on. And we're doing all right. Oh, yeah. This is what I'm looking for right now. This is my trade of the week. I'm looking at USD CAD. If CAD JPY gets real bullish, you know what I'm saying, since the CAD is on the front end, we might expect for USD CAD to sell. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe. But then the USD could also be moving in. You could see the USD and the JPY both bullish at the same time, and the CAD gets caught in a cycle to where it's not moving as smoothly as it could because it's being pulled in different directions by multiple pairs. You know what I'm saying? GBP JPY is going to give us the best sign. This is going to be our ultimate confirmation. When GBP JPY breaks above this previous structure right here, right, and we trade back into this level, create a high, and then we get a buy side from here, that's when we're going to know that all of these JPYs have the potential to move. You know what I'm saying? When this does this, 209.10, it's going to be a banger week, you guys. Buy side, territory entered. Potential upside. We will expect to see this market continue to trade higher. Same thing goes across the board for really all the JPYs. NZD JPY looks pretty interesting. Looks like it's done everything that it needs to. This one might actually even be a safer trade. Not really. I could get in for 35 pips. It looks like it's ready to enter right now. Stop loss below this low. 40 pips. Could probably get in for 40 pips now. NZD JPY, that means, again, that could affect USD to the downside. It could mean that pairs like NZD JPY or NZD USD could also buy to the buy side, which means that my Euro NZD, as I expressed before, could have some downside risk right now. You know what I'm saying? But this is a phenomenal setup here on NZD USD. It's ready now. I think I'm going to enter it. Let me see if that fits within my risk parameters. It kind of does. It does. And I'm going to look to enter a position here. I'm going to be risking 40 pips. So my stop loss will be 101.95. Right? 101.95 is my stop loss. My take profit 94.3. And I'm going to let that rock. As I look back to the news, I remember that on Tuesday, not only do we have CAD news, but we also have NZD news just as well, right? NZD JPY could be a big mover. AUD on Wednesday, we should have an answer for where this AUD USD is trading. We should be back in structure or continuing to buy to the buy side, like I previously said. Remember, I told you we have not broken back into the structure yet, so that downside is not confirmed. And then USD CAD, I do believe that we get that potential downside. So everything is actually correlating pretty well. There's good confluences. There's not as much conflict as I originally thought. We're going to stay in tune. And Euro NZD, some potential sell side, like I said. It could just be to here. It could end up being bigger than that. We have some equal lows here that could get tested if NZD buys big enough. Not really sure yet. I'm going to be looking away from NZD for just a little bit so I can let these things play out. I'll be looking back at it for a New York session, but I'm not touching anything else beyond these JPYs, CAD JPY, and NZD JPY. These are the only two things that I'm considering touching whatsoever for right now. Taking a small position, but I'm anticipating that we get buy side. There could be potential pullbacks as far as about 25 pips from where we're trading at now, so, you know, embrace that. If you're on the smallest trade, smallest lot size, and you're using a 0.01, this is a total risk of 40 pips, which would be $4 on your account, 4%. So that is a pretty big risk. You know, typically I try to get in for 35, pips, but this one had to be 40 to take the lows. You got to just recognize that you're risking a little bit more when you have a little bit less capital to play with. But as we build up our accounts, we are going to have a little bit more flexibility to where we can risk less from a percentage basis and still make more money. So that's going to be the goal, you guys. And I think that wraps it up for this week's weekly outlook call. Gold, we finally broke out of this consolidating range. We were in this consolidation for quite a while. We finally broke out. We broke out, we took the lows, but we did not breach the lows. Like we didn't close below the lows. Price trades back into structure, and we now have our sell off of this imbalance, right? From this point in time, sell side here, using this guy as our stop loss, right, is possible. However, that's still 6,000 pips, and I can't enter that trade. We could expect to see gold. That's a 1 to 5, but I just can't make it make sense. It's just too big for me personally. But some sell side could be possible on gold. We are seeing this counter trend right here, this buy side position. We could definitely see this sell from here, right? But with that being said, you guys, that this looks like a beautiful trade, high key. I love it. I just can't like get behind the risk. Even if I did something like this, which I would never do something like this, that's still $300, yo, 3,000 pips. I can't trade it. Can't trade gold, bro. It's just not. It doesn't follow my rules. I just can't do it. And that just like it hurt me for a long time because I don't like to like. I never tell myself. I don't like to limit myself, and I never tell myself what I can't do. Like that's not in my vocabulary for real. I don't say things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that is how I train my brain, bro. Like I don't say things that I'm not able to do. However, I want to identify my edge and lean into my edge. I'm not trying to be the best him. I'm trying to be the best me. And in doing that, I got to identify the things that work for me and the things that don't. The areas that I struggle with. You know how many times I done ran up a bag just doing my own thing? And then I'm like, ooh, but gold looks perfect. And I go and I enter that and it erases everything, bro. It's happened multiple times, more than one occasion. And I'm just like, I have to learn from it. And it's not that I'm defeated. It's that I'm standing in victory in my purpose and my alignment. You know what I'm saying? I'm a win by walking in the ways that Wale is supposed to win. You guys may be like, yo, I'm the master gold trader, and that's what will bless the whole team. You know what I'm saying? I'll be the master, I'll master the JPYs, and I'll master the NZDs, and Ozzy will master the AUDs, and I got a couple people. Let me show you guys real quick. Gold be breaking my heart, bro. Let me show you guys real quick. This is the next group coming up. So this next group coming up, we've got 14 members in this group. Some of them are from like my college. Some of them are from my guys from Kenya. I put Ozzy in there. She went to college with me. He's done business with me. He's in Kenya. He went to college with me. He trains martial arts with me. She's a realtor out of New York. He has been trading with me for a little bit in a separate business. And let me show you. I can't get them to stop talking right now. Right? They're already trying to, he's already on top of, I've been sharing some of my ideas. They've been watching it like a hawk. You know what I'm saying? So I just been keeping them updated. So when I look at everybody overall, Ozzy is obviously experienced. Patrick is experienced on the verge of his breakthrough. Sykes is experienced on the verge of his breakthrough. My guy Khalil is experienced. He trades options just as well. So we have different people. We have Tierra T, who is a graphic designer. So if you guys need graphic designs, she's gonna be, on squad. And she went to college with me just as well. Olivia has been locked in. She's usually on these weekly Outlook calls. She's been locked in on all the calls where I was calling JP Wise, JP Wise. You would think I was a madman, yo. But I was just so convicted. Like, I was so like, yo, this is has to happen because you haven't invalidated my belief yet. You haven't done anything to invalidate it yet. So I'm expecting, look at this. This is going to shoot. I'm expecting, so USD CAD, you might see doing the opposite, right? But yeah, you guys, I'm excited. We're going to build our inner circle. Oh, so let me give you guys the last. Oh, I meant to say this on the first call. Damn it. This is not completely related, but it's still squad on call. So when it comes to our group, I've made a decision. It's again going to just continue to build high value in our group and in our environment. At the end of the boot camp, oh, let me wrap up the call. I'm gonna just talk to you guys. That makes it more sense. So yeah, well, you guys. With that being said, that's all I have for this weekly Outlook call. I'll be in the chats. I will be communicating. I'll have my eyes on the charts and on the market, and we are gonna get ready for another beautiful and another amazing week, you guys. But with that being said, you guys, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you guys sometime soon.